Now we review Velma Season 2. They made another one. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I am Richard, and I have seen Velma Season 2. I reviewed every episode and believe individually of Velma Season 1. I noticed people were watching those again. They kind of started coming up. And I was like, okay, is there a Season 2? And lo and behold, there was one, and I was able to scrounge up someone who would let me watch it. Don't recall what streaming service it's on. I would have to look that up, but don't recall what streaming service it was on to begin with. Went over someone's house and binged. I needed a friend. Anyway, for 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from the company 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you're so kind, it's comment, like, and subscribe if you're doing your part for a better world. Anyway, so Velma Season 2. Velma and Daphne are... For those of you that don't know, this is basically a fanfic of Scooby-Doo, only it is wokeified. And I mean, do not assume that this is relatable. I mean, it's supposed to be a prequel to Scooby-Doo, but it can't be. Because, well, if you saw this particular season, you would know that it definitely can't be. Even if you forgive the fact that these characters are far more diverse, which, I mean, is not a bad thing. It's just the characters that I'm used to, the characters that are canon, are not as diverse. And look, Scooby-Doo being a story about a bunch of white people who are so drugged out on acid that they think their dog is talking, it could use some updating, I guess. Maybe we should add some better characters who are diverse. You know, I mean, it's one of those things. What do you do when you need diversity because you're treating an IP that was produced in an era where basically what you had on screen was a bunch of white people? You know, it's a good question. And, you know, this one, your Shaggy is never referred to as Shaggy, and he's black. And, you know, Velma is Indian, and Daphne is still white. Fred is still white. And it does say something that the white people are the dumb ones in this movie, or in this series. But I digress. Anyway, so in the first season, hot chicks were being debodied, and their brains were being put in jars, I guess. And now the hot chicks are still running around in jars, so they're not hot chicks; they're just brains. And murders are continuing. Are they continuing or are they starting? I mean, it wasn't murder when the brains were being removed, right? So anyway, Velma has got to go back to mystery solving. Norville is having, or Shaggy is having hallucinations because in the first season he accidentally killed Fred's mom, and Fred is investigating things in a spooky manner because he wants to believe that his mother is a ghost and still around, and that she's not guilty. So, yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. And to be honest with you, it's supposed to be weird. It's supposed to be a commentary on modern society and our clique culture. It's like there's one scene where an angry mob is dispelled by telling people that if you're only in danger if you're a man with a big dong. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I mean, I've got a big dong. I better get the heck out of here. You guys can rampage. Let me tell the world. It's like, you know, dude, the thing about telling the world you have a big dong is that when you get your pants down, they're going to see if it's a big dong. And I mean, you know, look, a giant dong looks tiny on me anyway because I'm huge. So I know how that is. I mean, until she gets her hands on it, she really doesn't know how big it is. But I mean, it's going to depend a lot on her experience with dongs, to be honest with you. Chick's never seen a dong before. She's not going to know what big is. Unless she's been watching dirty movies. Then she's going to think you're small no matter what. Because Anyway, so they introduce a them, a gender neutral character, and you know something, that there's nothing wrong with that because these characters exist in our modern world. I've met a few of them, and it's something that should probably be reflected in our media that these characters exist. The presence of homosexuality or bisexuality is as common as North Hollywood. I mean, it is. This is a community with a lot of that going around, and again, that's possible. Not saying it isn't. You know, like, hey, I go down to the market, and there's a transgender that works there, and we're good friends. You know, so we might know if we're good friends, but we're friends. I mean, I would assume that if we were good friends, I would make her boyfriend feel threatened, and I don't want that to happen. So, you know, hey, look, men are always upset about other men being by their women. It's a guy thing. We're dumb that way. Anyway, so yeah, I would actually say this was easier to watch than the last season. I mean, there aren't a lot of characters to like, to be completely honest with you. These characters are self-centered, backstabbing. They are particularly evil. Shaggy is going out with somebody at this point that is not Velma. So I like the fact that he moved on, you know, and his raging hormones are being addressed. Still, you know, there are a lot of questions that you come up with. How is this supposed to evolve into the series? You know, even if you have a series or almost a reimagining, which is what this kind of is, it brings up questions like, how does this evolve into the series? There's plot points in this that break the series. So that's why this is kind of a fanfic. It's like, you know, if you had a Jason Voorhees movie or a Friday the 13th movie where Jason Voorhees is 100% burnt to ashes in the end, well, that's a fan film. It cannot be part of the canon. If you made a Jason Voorhees movie that happened between the other movies that ended up with him in the same position he was at the beginning of the movie, that could actually become part of the canon. So that's what you have here is the first option, not the second. I mean, it's like, you know, we see the Spider-Man where Flash Thompson, which has got to be one of the whitest names ever, is played by, I believe, an Indian actor. And, okay, you know, it's a little weird, but there's nothing particularly wrong with that. Audiences may first look at that and be like, you know what? I don't feel comfortable with this because it's not what I remember. But, you know, it's not the story you remember. It's its own story, and we have to respect that. Still, however, look, I would not call this good. It is not as atrocious as the last one. It is not as ridiculous as the last one. But it is still not... I mean, I didn't laugh once. There were a couple of zingers in there that I felt like, okay, that's funny, you know? But I didn't laugh at it. And I don't laugh at a lot of things, so I really can't hold that against you folks. But that's just where this is. You know, it's coming from a bad origin. I don't know how it made enough money to get greenlit for a second season. And still, it does not bring us to the point where the show starts, where the original IP starts. So whereas this is likely some form of reimagining, there is still no Scooby-Doo. I mean, if there's a Scooby-Doo running around, I didn't see him. At the end there, you're like, finally, we're going to... No, completely different. Which probably means that they've greenlisted this for a third season and they're not trying to wrap it up. But then, you know, look, I don't mind the girl boss trope, which is kind of what's going on here. I don't mind the commentaries on modern society. I actually think those are a good thing. It is a good thing that we're telling men that we shouldn't be so hung up about the size of our junk, because that's not what's important in the world today. What's important in the world today is, what's happening in the news, climate change, which is mentioned in this, Gaza, politics. We as a society are becoming more socially aware because information is easier to find, and it's becoming more and more prevalent to us. There are places in the world which are going to become unlivable in the summer, and now we realize that, well, yeah, okay, if that place is going to be unlivable in the summer, then someone's going to have to be displaced, and then a few of them might come here. And if it's unlivable in the summer, who's going to go back? So that's one of those things about this world of ours, that we're becoming more aware as a society. And you know what? That's a good thing. And that's not what the show reflects. But it does reflect the fact that some of us are still utterly blind. Okay. Commentary on society, thumbs up. Show, thumbs down. Lower middle of your watch list. It is not disgustingly bad. It is almost to the point where it's the so bad it's good category, but it's not quite there. Anyway, that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours in the comments below. I'm Richard.
Greetings, humans! Your old pal Randall here again, reminding you to comment, like, and subscribe. You see, I got my bracelets from Ferocian, and I got another medal from the Conqueror. Yeah, look at that, see? See? That's got an Easter Island head on it. Because if you can't afford to go to Easter Island, you can go and walk Easter Island virtually by going to the Conqueror. You could not screw up the environment by traveling to Easter Island. You could just get this, plant 5 trees, and then walk on your own and learn about Easter Island, because I send you postcards. And if you comment, like, and subscribe, you can help the guy that owns this channel buy things like this so he can plant trees, and buy bracelets like this from Ferocian so he can pull trash out of the ocean and make a better world for you. And it isn't going to cost you anything. So don't you have something to say? I mean, shouldn't you in the comments down below say how grateful you are that this man has planted so many trees and pulled so much trash out of the ocean and did all those good things for you? No? Ungrateful human? I should eat your face!